$13 billion in annual revenue, 341 stores, 15 states. Home Depot has 2,300 stores and $83 billion in revenue. Lowe's has 1,700 stores and $83 billion in revenue. By every conventional measure of retail ambition, Menards is the company that did not finish the job. It built a successful regional chain and then stopped. It never went national. It never opened in Texas. It has never had a store on the East Coast or the West Coast or anywhere south of Kentucky. And it generates more revenue per store than either of the two companies that did go national. The question most people ask about Menards is why it stopped expanding. The more interesting question, the one that the per-store revenue number forces you to ask, is whether the companies that kept expanding made the right decision. That per-store revenue number is not a quirk. It is a signal. It is telling you something specific about the relationship between scale and efficiency that the conventional retail growth narrative does not acknowledge. The conventional narrative says bigger is better. More stores, more markets, more revenue, more leverage with suppliers, more brand recognition, more everything. Home Depot followed that narrative to 2,300 stores and $36 billion in long-term debt. Lowe's followed it to 1,700 stores and its own substantial debt load. Both companies are publicly traded and answer to Wall Street analysts every 90 days with specific targets for same-store sales growth, operating margin, and return on invested capital. Both companies are, by every financial metric, dramatically larger than Menards. And Menards generates more revenue per location. That outcome does not fit the conventional narrative. It requires a different explanation. The explanation is that national scale and optimal scale are not the same thing, and Menards, whether by design or by the structural constraints of its private ownership, has been operating at something much closer to optimal. To understand why 15 states might be the right number rather than the wrong number, you have to understand what makes a specific Menards location profitable compared to a specific Home Depot location in the same market. A Menards store in Eau Claire, Wisconsin is 30 miles from the company's headquarters. It is within direct delivery range of multiple distribution centers. The windows and doors on its shelves were manufactured by Midwest Manufacturing with no intermediary margin between factory and floor. The lumber in its yard was purchased through a buying operation with 60 years of supplier relationships in a geography those suppliers know. The 11% rebate that runs through that store generates return visits that no Home Depot loyalty program has been able to replicate in the same market. And the store carries no allocated share of $36 billion in corporate debt. That location's profitability is not an accident. It is the compounding result of every operational decision Menards has made since the first store opened. Here is where the story stops being about what Menards does not have and starts being about what it has instead. A Home Depot store in Eau Claire is a location in a national chain that is simultaneously managing stores in Florida, California, Texas, and 2,000 other markets. Its supply chain is optimized for national coverage, not for Midwest density. Its pricing is set by a corporate merchandise team that cannot price specifically for a market where Menards has 60 years of customer relationships and a captive manufacturer delivering windows below what Home Depot pays third-party suppliers. Its debt service obligations are the same whether the Eau Claire store outperforms or underperforms. Its management decisions are made inside a quarterly earnings cycle that rewards short-term same-store sales growth rather than the kind of long-term community relationship building that has made Menards the market leader in Wisconsin for 6 decades. The Eau Claire Home Depot is not a bad store. It is just a store that carries the overhead of a national operation into a market where the local competitor does not. The same dynamic plays out in the numbers Home Depot reports internally. In markets where Menards holds established density, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Home Depot's comparable store sales growth has historically lagged its national average. The chain that delivers above-average performance in Florida and Texas and the Southeast is the same chain that has spent 27 years competing in Milwaukee without displacing 4 Menards stores that were already there. National average performance is not Midwest performance. The 2,300 stores in the portfolio are not equally profitable. The ones in markets where a debt-free competitor with a captive manufacturer has been entrenched for 6 decades are almost certainly not the stores pulling the national average up. Scale produces an average. Menards does not have an average. It has a concentration. When Home Depot entered Milwaukee in 1998, the 4 Menards stores already operating in that market held market leadership. 27 years later, Menards is still the market leader in Wisconsin. It is still the market leader in Eau Claire, in the Fox Valley, in the markets where John Menard built his first pole barns and opened his first hardware stores. The national chain that entered those markets with 888 stores and nearly $40 billion in annual revenue could not displace a regional chain with 139 stores and $4 billion in revenue. Not in 27 years of direct head-to-head competition. The per-store revenue advantage Menards holds is the mathematical summary of that competitive outcome. The argument that Menards should have expanded nationally assumes that expanding nationally would have preserved the per-store advantage. There is no evidence that it would have. The chains that expanded nationally borrowed money to do it, and the debt they accumulated is the overhead their stores now carry. If Menards had borrowed to build stores in Texas in the 1990s, those Texas stores would be carrying debt service obligations today. The Midwest manufacturing freight cost disadvantage would be baked into their cost structure. The 11% rebate would be generating return visits in markets where Menards has no 60-year customer relationship to leverage. The per-store revenue advantage that defines Menards today is specifically a product of not doing what Home Depot did. It was built by staying where the cost structure works and deepening the advantage rather than chasing the markets where it would not. John Menard is 84 years old and still serving as president of a company worth approximately $20 billion by personal net worth estimates. He has never sold. He has never taken it public. He has never explained his geographic strategy in a press release or an investor call because there are no investors to call and no press that has ever been granted access. What he has done is build a company that generates more revenue per location than either of its national competitors, ranks first in customer satisfaction, and has held market leadership in its home states against those same national competitors for 3 decades of direct competition. The question is not why Menards only exists in 15 states. The question is whether the companies that expanded beyond 15 states and borrowed $36 billion to do it made the right call. Menards has been quietly answering that question for 60 years. The answer is on the per-store revenue line. And it is not the answer the conventional retail growth narrative predicted. If this changed how you think about what optimal actually looks like versus what ambitious looks like, subscribe. The most interesting business decisions are almost never the ones that get celebrated, and the ones that look like limitations from the outside are often the ones doing the most work.